want to
sure
take
that
a chance getting sick.
no, nobody
So,
wants to be sick at all, let alone at Christmas.
right? Oh my goodness. So what have we been learning while we've been out for testing? What have you
I
guys been talking about?
I know. So we literally finished up Unit 4 while I was gone and started Unit 5. And we are almost done with Unit 5, which is totally, I feel like FOMO, like I've missed out so much that like I don't even know how to handle it. Is he good? DNA, RNA, proteins. This is good. Tell me what else you've learned. I bet you guys have kind of missed being together. JB's here. Who else is? Are my talkers here?
Oh, Caden says his memory is fried because you haven't slept much. Oh,
Oh,
goodness.
I'm sorry,
You did
Caden.
a
There's.
weird banana thing. I'm assuming it was
Oh,
an experiment or something like a
yes,
lab.
they looked at the banana DNA. They did a DNA extraction.
Oh. We did some weird banana thing.
Something about sickle cell. Good. So
Oh,
you guys
love
were
it.
talking about DNA mutations. How good.
Pass it down.
Someday you'll remember it. So funny. Well, we'll try to move in the right direction today of recapping what you have learned, just being together because we haven't all been together. I missed you all. I tried to keep up with some of you as I could, but it was kind of at a demanding site, so I was kept pretty busy there. But I missed you, and I'm so glad that we are back, even if it's just a little bit here before the holidays. So yes, this is the right calendar. So what I want to talk about today really quickly before we dive into content is this. A lot of you know that when we come back from break, we have our finals week. So, Mr. Schmidt, I'm doing something a little bit differently because what I would really love is for you guys to take your final this week. Okay, why would I rather you take your final this week? Well, I would rather you not go take 2 weeks of resting and partying, do whatever you're doing over the holiday break, and then come back after not being in class for 2 weeks and try to take a very important test. Okay. So, yeah, I think that you will have greater success if you take the final this week. What does that mean, too? Because we're finishing up Unit 5. There is no Unit 5 final unit test. Okay, so what I'm going to do, instead of giving you a Unit 5 test before Christmas break, I put some of your Unit 5 like comprehension stuff on your midterm. It's not, I guess, a final. It's a midterm test. So it's going to cover everything that we've done to this point in the year. Okay. And I'll email out a study guide that'll prep you for that. I think there's 40 questions. All right. So it's not, I keep saying final. It's not a final. It's just like a midterm test. It's going to be in place of your Unit 5 test. You won't have some people will have a Unit 5 test and a midterm. I don't want you to do both. I feel like that's a lot. No, I do not think there are any written questions. Okay. So this week we'll go over transcription today and translation tomorrow. Right, there are going to be these mini quizzes. This looks like a lot, but guys, they're like 4 questions. Okay. And those 4 questions are going to be helpful in you doing well on the Unit 5 questions for your midterm. So what I would love for you to do is come to class Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We'll hang out, learn together, take some quizzes to make sure we're up where we want to be for Unit 5, okay? And then Thursday and Friday, I would really love with my whole heart you to take your biology midterm. I know. It might only be three questions, JB. They're very short. But I promise you these are very short quizzes. All right? And instead of being in a class where you're taking a Unit 5 test and a midterm, I'm eliminating one of those for you. So send me some love about that. All right, so we are back. Oh, that would be perfect. So Mrs. Schmidt can meet to go over the study guide Thursday or Friday too. So touch base with her if you would like to meet, because I think that would be great.
Yeah, I can set up like during normal time, just we can go over all the study guide questions that you guys are stuck on, and so that way you guys have all the right answers that you're studying, and then you can take, if you want to meet, we can do Thursday and Friday, and that way you can take it either later that afternoon or Friday.
That would be perfect. Or yeah, if you even need the accountability to just show up to class on Thursday to be like, I'm going to use that time to take my test. Show up and just tell us when you get there. Or tell Mrs. Schmidt when you get there, like, hey, I'm taking the final or the midterm. All right.
Yeah,
And I'm
I
going to
can
do my
breakout room, and then that way you don't have to listen to me talk.
Oh yeah, that's perfect. And so then also I will do my best. Would you guys like a word wall game for review for is the test open? I think I opened it. I'm not sure. Is that what you're asking? Open book or open resource? I mean, not really. I do say if you take the time to look up the answers for your study guide and it's there, I don't necessarily have a problem with that, you know? Yeah, yeah, do the study guide, and that study guide can basically be your notes. And if you do the study guide, I feel like you're going to be very successful because we make the study guide based on the test. All right. I like hesitate to say it's an open book thing because it's like not like open Google. It's like if you're working and you do that, you will be prepared. Is my open roundabout way of saying that. What's word wall honesty? It's that some of those review games that I do with you. Some of them look like game shows or whack-a-mole or the train that drives by. Yeah, don't use the internet browser. Don't be Googling answers. Just prepare. It's true. Google doesn't know. Google doesn't know everything. So let me just do a poll because it is a lot of questions to do a game for if you don't want to use it. If you would utilize a word wall game, whack-a-mole, or whatever else, maybe I'll pick like the hardest, trickiest questions, I think. You know what I mean? Thank you, Mrs. Schmidt. That makes notes only. It's a notes only resource. Okay, there's enough of you, I think, that would use that. So I'll work on that for you this week too. That's my homework, all right? I'll try to get that done ASAP. And then the cool thing is if you do your midterm this week, guess what? When you come back during finals week, we can do fun stuff instead of working on midterm. Yeah, word wall is a super fun way to study. Awesome. All right, I'm done. I will do it Decided. All right. I knew there would be some housekeeping today and we wouldn't jump in as fast as I wanted to, but transcription and translation is super important. It is definitely something that you're going to see in the spring on those state tests. And it's definitely something that we want to spend time in today. So without further ado, get into that today. Could somebody please turn their microphone on and read these goals? Because I miss hearing your voices. Anyone?
What am I reading?
The goal's right up here. And then Honesty, I'll have you go next.
What is transcription? What is the product of transcription? Where does transcription occur?
Perfect. So what is transcription? What is the product? The product is just what do we get from it? All right, and where does it happen? Seems some basic questions that you would ask about anything, right? What is something I want to know in chat? What is one thing that you look forward to every? I want to say it's not Christmas season, the holiday season. So what is a holiday like tradition or whatever else that you look forward to every year? No school. I would say that's a same. I have the similar feeling. Simon, what else? What else do you guys look forward to? No family tradition, sleeping in, snow. Are there opening presents? I know. I'm not a fan of the cold weather either. Making cookies. Oh, Xavier, my girls love making. We've made cookies a lot. We made some icing cookies this weekend. And we have friends actually that are coming from out of town to stay with us starting on Saturday and all next week. So we made cookies so that we can ice cookies. It's going to be awesome. Spending time with family. Good. So if we have a favorite event, we always have like a cookie decorating party, all right, with my family every single year. We like mass produce cookies, like any kind of cookie you can think of, we make it. Okay, we dip cookies in chocolate and pretzels in chocolate. We make literally everything you can imagine. And then we eat dinner together. And then we usually take boxes and trays of cookies out to grandparents or some seniors in the community that we just try to love on and keep extra close. This year there were some friends that lost their spouses due to COVID or other situations, and we took things to them. But when we get excited about those things, right, we want to make sure they have priority on our calendar. So we ask some of these same questions, right, about those events. So let's look at transcription and try to figure out some of those details. Let's look at this. Hold on one second. All right. Honesty, would you like to read this top part of the slide right up here? Peyton's here.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, DNA cannot leave the nucleus. This is why RNA is so important. You will find out why today.
Yes. All right. Have you ever been grounded?
Yes.
Anyone ever been? Yeah, Honesty's like, yes. I have been grounded. What about the rest of you? Have you all been grounded before? It's like confessions day in biology class. So what happens? Never, Kinsley said. That is amazing if you've never been grounded. I'm impressed. Yeah, I know. I feel like I spent half of my high school career grounded. I wasn't a bad kid. I just couldn't keep my mouth shut is I think the biggest problem. All right, and D see Miss Schmidt, we are on the same wavelength here. All right, so what happens is DNA and RNA are very much the same, but have some little differences. And what happens is RNA is kind of a code, all right, that DNA is able to like send out. I remember there were times when I was grounded in my room that my sister would be like next door and I could like send notes underneath the door, okay? Like when I was really, really in trouble, I remember one time they brought me dinner to my room, like I wasn't allowed to leave. It was like, obviously, I was really sassy that day or something. All right, but what happens is our DNA is super important. It contains the instruction manual for everything that goes on in our cell. The problem is the DNA cannot leave the nucleus. So sometimes we need instructions from the DNA that we can't get out. All right. And so RNA becomes a form of the DNA code that is actually allowed to leave the room. All right. So just a quick review on how DNA and RNA are different. Now, we did learn this in Unit 2. Oh, hold on. Am I lagging? Okay. Maybe try refreshing, Peyton. Oh my word, my nose just started running, Mrs. Schmidt. I'm like, oh my word, I'm sick.
I've got it. I've got the craving crud. No.
I'm like paranoid now. Oh my gosh. I really do have a running. Hey, Milo, will you run and grab me a tissue? I'm like, all of a sudden I got it from you virtually, Mrs. Schmidt.
Oh no.
I'm just teasing. Oh, so DNA, it is double-stranded, all right? So DNA starts with a D. So DNA is double-stranded versus RNA is single-stranded. What else can you tell me about DNA and RNA? Who else? Somebody want to run us through this chart? You tell me. What's the difference? Anyone want to run us through there?
I could if you want.
Sure, go for it. When it talks about base pairs, how is DNA and RNA different? What does RNA have? RNA has what?
Well, it looks like it's
Good.
base
RNA
uracil.
has uracil. And what does DNA have, Honesty? Good. Yes,
Am I
thymine.
right?
Nope,
How do you
you're
say that?
100% right. And so we're talking about those 4 letters, remember, that build the DNA ladder? Those are what we're talking about, our base pairs. And there's one letter that differences between, thank you, sweetie, between DNA and RNA, and that is thymine and uracil. Perfect. What else about the sugars? So there's a slight difference in sugars. Do you want to tell me about that, Honesty?
Sure. So, DNA has deoxyribose,
Good.
and then RNA has ribose.
Perfect. And I like to remember this the same way. Look, deoxyribose is in DNA, and ribose, the sugar ribose, is in RNA. All right, so this is a built-in cheat code for us. All right, if it has ribose in it, it's RNA. If it's deoxyribose, it's DNA. All right, the thymine, all right, is in DNA. Your uracil is in RNA. Our RNA is just one single strand, and our DNA is the double strand. The other last thing would be that the RNA is allowed to leave the nucleus. All right. You're right in thinking that, JB. So uracil and adenine will pair together. So you'll see adenine in both DNA and RNA. And look, you can remember that because they both have an A, right? So they both have A, they both have adenine. It just switches up as to which pairs with adenine, all right? In DNA, thymine pairs with adenine. In RNA, uracil. You sure can, Pam. We talked about that just a little bit earlier. I'm going to open it up basically today, and you're welcome to take your midterm this week. And turn my camera off while I wipe my nose. Awesome. So this would be a great one of those things. I'm probably am not going to make it due until finals week, Izzy. Just because if it doesn't work for someone to take it this week, I'm not going to zero you out to that, but I would like you to try to take it because I think you're going to be more successful this week than you will when you return. All right. All right. So today we're going to look at how once we get our DNA replicated, once we get a copy of our DNA, all right, so our DNA can copy itself. It will be due that first week of January. Let me get back. All right. So we can copy our DNA to get a whole nother like strand of DNA that is double-stranded, or we can get pieces of our DNA copied for, I like to think about this as recipes. All right, I book that has all my family recipes in it. And when I go to cook, I will like, I also meal prepped this weekend. So I made like 15 meals that I put in the freezer. So what I pull out the family cookbook cards of the things that I want to cook. All right. This is kind of the same thing. So when your cell needs, like you're like, oh, it's like I need the recipe to make a protein. RNA is going to be our little runner that's going to go to the, there's going to be a signal sent to the nucleus. There's going to be a recipe for that protein in the form of RNA. They make a copy of how to make that protein, and then they send that copy out. All right. Okay, I'll leave my camera off. Is that helpful? Hopefully that won't lag. So an RNA is a copy, a temporary copy of DNA, all right, that's allowed to leave the cookbook. If you let the original DNA leave the nucleus, it could get damaged, it could get lost, and you don't want to lose like your manual for life, all right? And that's what the DNA is for the cell. So in transcription, all right, it is the first part of making proteins. And we are simply taking our DNA and making a copy of the code, all right? So I want you to do this right now for me and put transcription in chat. Transcription equals copy the code, or copy the DNA code. Copy code, which is the DNA. So we're going to take our DNA and we're going to transfer it into RNA, which means we're just going to make a copy of it. There's a section of it, there's a recipe. We don't need all of the recipes in the whole book. We just need one recipe. What's your favorite recipe? I want to know. What's your favorite like thing that your mom makes or you make that's like a family fave? I knew it. Mac and cheese, burgers. Ooh, coconut chicken, Xavier. That sounds delicious. What else? Ooh, my daughters would definitely agree with the mac and cheese, except for it's not a homemade recipe. My transcription comes from Kraft. Waffles, dressing. Oh, that's good. Peach cobbler. That sounds awesome. JB's like, Kraft is mine as well. Peyton is not biased. She wants just like all food. Good. So like when you go to make those things in your house, you either look off the Kraft box, all right? That would be the code. That would be the RNA piece. All right? Or you're going to get a recipe from your recipe book. Okay? That is going to be the template or the instructions for what you make. So we're going to look at how we do that today, all right? In order to make proteins, all right, make this from our kitchen, we've got to have the recipe. We get the recipe by making a copy of it from the cookbook and taking that to the kitchen. I legitly do this in my house. Oftentimes, I will just use my cell phone right now to go to the cookbook and take a picture of it. So I have it over at the counter with me. All right. So let's look at this. The process of converting DNA, RNA. The DNA code is copied to an RNA molecule in the nucleus. Let's practice something really quick. I want to move out of this presentation for just a minute. Did you talk about DNA pairing at all with Mrs. Palmer? Ooh, potatoes. So we are going to do a little making of our own today. All right, you ready? We are going to do a little transcription of our own today without even a PowerPoint lesson because we are just that awesome. Can I even type? Are you ready for this? I'm going to need you. Cannot do this without you. So when we go to copy, oh, come on. There we go. We are going to send our little messenger to the nucleus where the DNA is. And we are going to look at the code in DNA. Who type in chat? What are the 4 nucleotide pairs, the base pairs that are in DNA? You know it. Yes. Adenine, thymine, cytosine, and guanine. Maria is awake and on it today. Watch out, world. Okay. So let's just make a code. All right. Couple more. All right. This is, why did that not show? There it goes. Can you see my code? Awesome. I love how you guys cheer for each other. Although, by the way, actually someone watched our class and was like, your class is so sweet. I love how they encourage each other. And I was like, aren't they awesome? I know. Because you guys really do. I really admire that about you guys more than any class I've ever had, is that you guys are like, you don't pick on each other or bring each other down. And I appreciate that so much because there's so much of that in our world, right? Nobody needs more of that negativity in their life. All right. So we are going to do a little transcribing of our own. This is legitimately what happens. All right. Where does this happen? Where does our DNA get stored at? Where is it? grounded to? Yes, perfect. So this is all happening in the nucleus. All right, so I'm going to put that up here. In the nucleus. CJB, we need your mic to work because I could hear you totally narrating. Stay in the nucleus. You have one strand of RNA that is going to get copied. All right, there's a little code that actually is at the top of it, and it is like what we call a start code, and it basically means like start here. All right, so what we're gonna do, yes, you are 100% right, Madison. What I want you to do is multiple people if we can. What I'd like to do is, actually, let's do this. I want to break these into sections and have multiple people. Oh my word, look how not straight my lines are. It's all right. We kind of get it. That's kind of my personality. I just don't do straight lines. Okay. So I've got several different 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sections. So I want 5 volunteers to, what we are going to actually say is to transcribe this morning. You're going to be our transcription specialists. All right. And all I want you to do is put what the RNA would pair with. Now, it's going to do the same thing where adenine or cytosine and guanine pair together. Yep. But remember, instead of the T, anytime you see a place where a T would go, like so right here, this very first pair, let's just do this first one together so no one's nervous, all right? Instead of pairing an A with a T, it's RNA, right? What does A pair with an RNA? Rock star, yes. It's like my singing today. I came back like full throttle. Uracil, yes. You are 100%. So this pair would be A pairs with U, and then what does T pair with? So this code would be what? Yes, perfect. UA. That would be the pair. Okay? So do we feel like we have confidence now? Can I subcontract out the rest of this work? A's will pair with U's, T's will pair with A's, and if you see a G, it pairs with a C. If you see a C, it pairs with a G. Who can take this first box? Volunteer? Will you volunteer and chat? Because when I scroll, I can't necessarily see your hands. Who will take box 1? All right, Madison's going to take box 1. Thank you. Who will take box 2? Awesome. You don't have to talk. That's okay. JB, will you do box 2? That would be wonderful. So we'll put who's on. What about box 3? Who else will do it? You guys can do it. I promise. Kaden, will you do one for me? Pretty please? Yay! So Kaden will do box 3. It's the same letter. So even your sleepy brain can do it. And you can look at that box 1 too for help if you are like, what? There's a little bit of a template in that box. So box 3 is Kaden. What about box 4? My last box. One last volunteer who's going to save the day. Pretty please. Pretty please. I'll beg. No shame. Izzy! All right. Oh, thank you, Kaden. I appreciate you volunteering to do another box. That makes my heart happy. But I appreciate Izzy stepping up, taking that last box. No box left behind there. All right, so go ahead, Anne. Do you guys have board permission? No. I wondered if that's why no one was writing on there. Let me look here. Draw on whiteboard. All right, you should be able to do that now. Perfect. I see him coming. Madison is right on. A is going to pair with U in RNA. Both times. Always and forever. Perfect. C is always and forever. Going to pair with G. Good. And G pairs with, you got this, JB. I love that they did make it easy. I feel like because G, where is her eraser? It might be in the text here. Am I doing it? I'm doing it. It's being so weird. It's so little. Look how little that eraser is. Oh my word, it's stressing me out. All right, there we go. Good. So C and G, always and forever, pair with one another. And I love that because they look like one another, right? Like C and G look like the same letter when they're capitalized, I feel like. Even lowercase, they look similar. So good. Perfect, JB. Your C will pair with G, always and forever, and G with C. Your adenine, or your thymine, turns into adenine in RNA. All right, cytosine and guanine, adenine, and let's just change this last one around. It's the trickiest one. Remember, what does A? A pairs with U. I don't know what I'm doing. Skills are lacking. All right, Izzy's got it. Perfect. That thymine is uracil in RNA. That's the trickiest one. Will you please give Madison, JB, Kaden, and Izzy some love? Because they are awesome. Thank you so much for volunteering. You guys made my day by showing up and working hard. And guys, honestly, JB wants some cheese, and this is translation. I ditched our lesson and came to this because sometimes I can tell you a complicated process in words and theories and strategies, or we could just do it, right? And I feel like you just did it. And you should have a ton of confidence in knowing that you are able to do it. And yeah, and we're leaving the lesson and you've transcribed DNA to RNA. That is the first step in making a protein, is going to the nucleus and getting a copy of the recipe that you want to make. And that's called transcription. Everybody write transcription. Say it on your microphone. I saw Alex is here too. Transcription. Y'all say transcription. What we did today is transcription. It's the very first part in making a protein. You're going to go to the instruction manual, the recipe book. You're going to get that recipe for whatever you want to make. And you're not going to take it out of the cookbook. You're not going to take it out of the nucleus. It's grounded. DNA is not allowed to leave. All right. But you're going to get the code. You're going to get the recipe, a copy of it, by going through the process of transcription. It happens where? Where does transcription happen? Happens in the nucleus. All right. So let's go through these. What is transcription? Tell me in the chat. Oh my goodness, I went over. I didn't even realize it. I'm having so much fun. DNA to RNA. Perfect. Whoever put that, it went by so fast. That's perfect. What is transcription? You're taking DNA, converting it to RNA. What do you get at the end? What is the product of transcription? What did we make today? We did not make mac and cheese. We did not make recipes. What did we make in that last activity? We're going to eventually get to a protein. You're right, Madison. That's the overall goal. But after transcription, you get RNA. As simple as RNA. Yep. And then we're going to use that RNA tomorrow to gather the ingredients and make the protein. No, you're a step ahead, girlfriend. You're doing awesome. All right. So what is transcription? It's making RNA from DNA. What is the product? It's RNA. And where does it happen? Where in the cell does transcription happen? Yes. You guys are right. The nucleus. All right, so hopefully you should all be hitting yes. If you don't, what are you going to do today to get yourself to practice those base pairs? Well, one thing I need you to do is take that very short quiz. All right. Check your grade book. Make sure you're not getting behind. And then pick something, one of these things to do. I need you to commit to something this week that you are going to do to be responsible on your end for your learning in biology. I can help you, but you're going to have to set some goals for yourself this week. You're going to have to take some responsibility for this content too, because 45 minutes every day won't do it. Okay. You don't see the screen, Kaden? Does anyone else see this? Somebody does because they're clicking on complete assignments. Okay. Whew. All right. Well, Class Connect is being a little silly today, but I could not tell you how much my heart feels so much happiness just being together with you today. Sorry that we ran late, but I missed you, and I'm so glad to see each and every one of you on here and in chat and working in class. Please let me know if I can help you this week. I see your question. Honestly, let me check because I am just kind of regathering myself after being out of the office for 2 weeks. I think you are, but I'll send you an email if there's something that you're missing.
Okay, thank you. See you tomorrow.
You're welcome. Guys, have a wonderful day. Thank you for being here. Thanks, Madison. Bye, JB. Bye, Leah.
Adios, amigos. I hope you have
I
some
know.
tea.
And a good
And a good
orange.
orange. Oh, goodness.
Oh, he makes me laugh so much.
Oh, my gosh. I actually saw a Christmas ornament that was a giant, like, container of cheese balls. And I was like, oh, my gosh, that's the funniest present. I was like, we need to send
Seriously,
that
my
to him.
kids would be thrilled. My girls asked for those goldfish that are like double cheesy goldfish.
Oh,
They legitimately put those on their Christmas
yeah.
list.
I love it.
Cracks me up. Goldfish?
Mhm.
I feel like a terrible mom if I wouldn't just like buy my kids goldfish
Goldfish.
from the grocery. Yes, flavor blasted, JB. You know it. Maybe it's because of their little cheesy fingers getting fingerprints all over my
Oh,
house.
my goodness.
Oh, Alex, it was delivered to the wrong place. Sorry, I missed that part. I just saw Switch and got excited.
Oh, no.
That's not cool. That is not cool at all. shipping issues. I'm telling you, I ordered these cute little bows for my girls' hair yesterday for their little program at church, and